Hi guys, it's Pastor Bruce. I think most folks would divide knowledge into two general camps. There's common sense, which really isn't that common in our world today, and what I've heard referred to as book learning. That's the education we receive through school and through job training and what have you. But I'd like to offer a third and I think best kind of knowledge, and that is spiritual knowledge. This is the spiritual discernment and wisdom that the follower of Christ receives through the leading and filling of the Holy Spirit in their lives. We see the contrast in Matthew chapter 16, which if I could subtitle it, I'd use the simple word clueless, because we see the common sense crowd, the disciples, as well as the book learning crowd, which are the Pharisees and Sadducees, totally not getting who Jesus is or what his mission is all about. But Jesus takes the disciples up to Caesarea Philippi, and he asks them who people say that he is, and they give him a long list. And then he said, well, who do you say that I am? And Peter says, you're the Christ, you're the Son of God. And don't miss Jesus' response. He says, this isn't from flesh and blood. Peter, you didn't get this through your common sense or through book learning. This is knowledge that you received from the Father. Guys, understand this. If you're a follower of Christ listening to this, you have got to daily come to the Holy Spirit and ask him to fill you and lead you so that you can have the spiritual knowledge, discernment, and wisdom to be able to lead this life and to be useful for the Lord and his work. I got a lot of books behind me on these shelves, and it's great information, but I tell you, apart from the wisdom that the Holy Spirit gives me, this stuff behind me is just going to be a bunch of words on a page. And realize that each day has to start with us asking the Holy Spirit to fill us and to lead us, because if we don't, you run the risk of what happens to Peter in the latter part of this chapter. He's had this great profession of who Jesus is, but then in the very next part, Jesus tells them that he's got to go to Jerusalem to die and to rise again the third day. And Peter's like, Lord, you can't do that. That's not right. And Jesus has to tell him, get behind me, Satan. The reason he says that, he's not being unkind to Peter, but Peter is now fallen back into worldly knowledge. He's fallen back into his common sense of what he wants in life and not what the discernment and wisdom of the Holy Spirit is all about. Each and every day, you and I need to start our day by asking the Holy Spirit to fill us and lead us. And you may find that you need to keep doing that during the day, because we have a funny way of falling back into our own common sense or book learning during the day. God bless you as you go.